Hi students, congratulations, you got that first revised essay done and welcome to week 3. This week we'll be focusing on multimodal communication. You're going to be creating an infographic, which is maybe something you've never done before, and also we'll be looking at some of the features of multimodal text and visual elements, things like that. Our next paper, the paper that's due this week, is called The Synthesis, Infographic, and Commentary, and it's due on Friday. This is definitely one that some students find challenging, but it's really excellent preparation for the research paper, so it's a challenge that you can and should work through. For the essay, the first thing you're going to do is summarize the main points of the 3 articles that you read. So you've got a choice. You can read my set of articles on music or the set on sports. That's up to you. And when you look at them, you'll think they're not at all connected, but that's your challenge, is to come up with some kind of thread that runs through them all, some way that you can find of synthesizing them. So like I was saying, for the first part of it, you're going to summarize them briefly in an infographic. And I've given you some guidance of how to create an infographic and some free tools that you can use to do so. It's important to note that you do not have to summarize every single point of those articles in your infographic. You can assume that your viewer of the infographic, me, has read them. So you want to get the gist of each of the articles conveyed in the infographic, and you just create one infographic for all 3 articles. You don't have to do 3 separate ones. For the commentary portion of the assignment, basically what you're doing here is inserting yourself into this conversation, this academic situation that has been talked about in your AB book before. So your challenge, like I said, is to make a connection among those articles. And in this section of the paper, you're going to be applying the ideas from AB Chapter 9 that you read last Friday. You're going to analyze the rhetorical features of each source, and you're going to come up with a way of putting those sources together in your own way. There's many different ways you could potentially do it, not one right answer. So you're going to make some kind of comment or points about sports or music using these articles to inform that comment. I'll be helping you through it this week as we do some homework assignments and daily announcement readings that'll help reinforce what you're doing here. You'll notice this week that the posting is slowing down for the last several weeks because you're working on papers where you're directly applying the idea. So Tuesday you actually have nothing to submit, which may be the first time all term so far, if you can believe it. Another thing I wanted to mention is that you don't peer review the synthesis, infographic, and commentary, because your job in this is really to do the synthesis on your own. So if you read another person's essay, it would influence your way of thinking. So I want you to face that challenge without any outside influence. Also, you'll notice that as a result of that, this paper is actually worth less. This is only 10 points, whereas your literacy narrative was 20. So that's a way of balancing this out, the fact that you're not able to draft this one and get feedback on it. So reviewing the objectives for this week, you're going to read, annotate, hopefully, because you've learned that from your reading strategies that we discussed in week 1. Analyze and synthesize 3 articles. You're going to represent a summary of their main points using an infographic. You'll synthesize ideas from these diverse critical sources about music or about sports. You'll understand the rhetorical features of multimodal text, including images, sounds, layout, and words. And then finally, you're going to show that you understand key ethical issues surrounding online communication. So thanks for your work, and send me email at any point if you have questions about anything. Thanks.